Everybody, thank you for attending our regular business meeting for October 28th, 2025. We will start tonight with the pledge, and Councilman Sanders has agreed to lead us in that.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you please remain standing as I lead us in the prayer? Father God, we just thank you so much for all the blessings you've bestowed upon us. We thank you for each and everybody that's here tonight, and we just thank you for the tough decisions ahead of us, and we just thank you for your guidance and wisdom, and just allow us to listen to one another, respect one another, and try to come to agreement as best we can tonight, Lord. We thank you for this great community, this great county, and we're just so wonderfully blessed to live in this great country. In your holy and precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
With that, I will open up the regular meeting, and we will review the meeting minutes from the September 23rd, 2025 meeting.
Mr. President, I move we approve the minutes as submitted.
Second.
All right, I have a motion from Councilman Faulkner, seconded by Councilman Alexander. All those in favor of the minutes, sign aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, thank you guys very much. With that, I believe that takes us to additional appropriations. Madam Auditor.
Ordinance number 2025-HCCO-43, additional appropriations. Whereas it's been determined that it's now necessary to appropriate more money than was appropriated in the 2025 annual budget. Now therefore be it ordained by the County Council of Howard County, Indiana, that for the expenses of the taxing unit, the following additional sums of money are hereby appropriated out of the funds named and for the purposes specified, subject to the laws governing the same. County General Fund, election equipment, $45,000. Total County General Fund, $45,000. Lit Special Purpose Fund, jail, FICA, $191.25. Employee Service Bonus, $2,500. Total Lit Special Purpose Fund, $2,691.25. CASA Fund, Travel and Training, $3,000. Total CASA Fund, $3,000. PEP Grant Fund, Part-Time Preparedness Coordinator, $17,247. FICA, $1,328. Supplies, $1,425. Total PEP Fund, $20,000. Total additional appropriations for all funds, $70,691.25.
All right, thank you very much. First up to go over the election equipment is our county clerk, Debbie Stewart. Good evening.
Good afternoon. Okay, I'm here to ask for $45,000 to help purchase new poll books for the election. We were informed, I believe back in August, that our poll books that we currently have are no longer going to be supported. They'll be shut off as of December 31st of 2025. These poll books have been in existence since 2015, roughly? 2010? Okay. I have a representative here with me from ESNS, Becky, so she can help me with some of the information on the old and the new. But with this being the major part, of the election, it's something that we must move to. Otherwise, the voters are not going to be able to sign in and vote. So we have to have the poll books. We are staying with the ballot on demand, which we have now, so that these poll books will work with that system, and we'll still have our paper ballot. The paper ballots will be ones that the voters can mark themselves, or we can do the express vote like we did last year. So this fits into everything that we currently have, and it's all compatible with, the DS200s, express votes, and everything else that we have. So I'll let Becky come up and give a little bit of comparison on the old poll book and the new one.
Okay.
I don't know if most people in here are familiar, but this is the old model here, which had a metal swivel stand, which proved to, it worked, but it had some kinks in it where, when it has to swivel back and forth to the voter, it could pull on cords, lose connection, so then, you'd have to reissue ballots or whatever. And underneath the stand here had the hub,
Oh.
where a lot of the connections were within the base, but kind of hard to access too. So if you had a port go bad or one of the connections in it come loose, it took a lot more troubleshooting to fix it. The new poll books are just this that you see in front of you. So this is the stand and the tablet in one, whereas this was the tablet with our metal swivel stand before. So now all the different ports were here. Now we've got what we need on the side of the stand here. There's a lot of additional features that come with this new version of poll book. With this, it used to be what we'd call Central Point, which was like your hub online where you could then see your status of your poll books and your locations. You can see how many voters you've had and whatnot. So this still has that program. It's just updated and called Connect now. So there's a lot more features that exist in that. We can create opening and closing poll checklists that will appear on the poll books for the poll workers. So now when they open them election morning, they can see whatever the clerk decides. You can have it not turned on at all. There was a very limited configurable settings in our old poll books. Now with this, there's so much that we can change to fit Howard County's needs. So if this one button doesn't work the greatest with your poll workers, we can change the wording on it. For voter verification purposes, for flagged voters, we can change the wording of how it appears to them so that it can, say like, if this voter is flagged as a Verify ID within SVRS, call the registration office first. So a lot of configuration updates where we can make it work for your county specifically. When a voter is checked in, this used to have to swivel out to them for them to sign. Now the poll worker would be facing the poll book, and then it has an auto I can't think of the right word. It rotates the screen orientation to the voter for then the voter to now sign. And then it was just implemented in state law in July that now for primary elections, the voter has to select their own party themselves now. It's not something that needs to be verbally said or something that needs to be done by the poll workers. Now it's supposed to be done by the voter itself. So now this has that feature too, where it will stay rotated towards the voter for that selection on the screen also, and then it will rotate back to the poll worker to then issue the ballot. So then this will work with all the other existing equipment and features that you guys already use. It will work with your on-demand ballot printing in your locations. So it's just basically just a very updated version of what already exists with a lot more features that will complement the county and the poll workers and the voters. So if you have any specific questions, I can try to help. But I feel like just the look of it itself, you can see that there's some improvements. This is almost like you know, I've got kids that have iPads with a padded bumper on it. So this is kind of a rubber, soft material too, so that it protects it should it fall or poll worker knocks it over.
Debbie, approximately how many of those poll books are there at each poll vote center?
At each vote center,
Or
it
does-
depends on if it's a busy one, but currently we have 50.
50 of those?
Yeah, so that's what we're looking to replace.
So the 45,000 is for 50 units?
Well, I'm on the transfer agenda too, so what I have done since we had no election this year, all of my election money that was budgeted for this year, I have transferred over to the equipment line.
Okay.
So the 45 will offset what I'm already transferring over.
And to be clear, you had some money in there for special elections, which we haven't had any to date and don't foresee any at this point in time. So
Right.
you're giving us that opportunity to use that to help offset that.
Yeah, and we're grateful there was no referendums, no special elections or anything, so.
Is there an expectation for how long those new poll books will be useful for? Is it, like,
I would say
does
that-
ICs change and the technology changes to the point that you got to replace them every 5 years, or they're
I
good
would
for
say-
10 years, or?
I would say 5 to 10 is the expectation, but I think you guys purchased these in 2016, so it was about 10 years that you used these. But this is a new product to where you should have a good lifespan out of it, and there are many updates that will come in the future that will be able to just be applied to this actual product.
Yeah.
We'll just update the software as it becomes available.
Yeah.
Debbie, what's going to happen in September of 2025 that makes us have to change to this? Did you say there won't be any maintenance on the ones we have now? At
No,
all.
these,
Through December.
the only thing we do on these is when we load the election every year into it, but these are not upgradable as
Okay.
of December 31st of 25.
Okay, I thought you
They're
said
shutting them
September.
completely
Okay.
off.
Yeah, I think the notice.
Oh, okay, so we really don't have a choice.
The notice came out, I think, in June, and then it was notifying that December 31st of 2025 is when they are now not supported any longer. So the
Okay.
system will actually be closed down to now be replaced with the Connect and the Express Pull product.
Okay.
So the support for the old one was about 10 years. Would you anticipate the support for a new product be about a 10-year life cycle also?
Your county has had them 10 years, but they have been out on the market longer than that.
Okay, so maybe even longer than 10 years, would you say?
I can't say 100%, but that's the expected lifespan on the product is 5 to 10 years.
Okay, and then the support associated with that would also be of a similar life cycle,
Yes.
not 5 years, but maybe closer to 10
Right,
years?
yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Debbie, one other question. The people that are already registered to vote and the registrations, that'll transfer
Yes.
smoothly and without
Just
glitches?
like it did to this
Okay.
old one.
Yeah, this one works with your voter
It'll work the
registration
same way.
program, syncs the data, all of that is the same transition. It's the same data that we're going to grab from your SVRS system in the same manner.
Okay.
And we do have many other customers in the state that have made this transition or are actively using this poll book now also.
I just talked to Madison County this week, and they're currently going from their old vendor to the new ESNS poll books.
What's it called?
The company is ESNS.
ESNS. Thank you.
Election systems and software.
So this is for 50 units, is that right? And the total cost, including the money to be transferred for these 50 units, is,
It's roughly, yeah, it was. $77,230.
For,
For
plus,
50,
plus the additional appropriation?
50 units, and then it's the cases and other, yeah.
That is another improvement too. The old poll book cases were big plastic briefcase type things, and now this is our padded case that you can fit 2 poll books in, so you have to buy 1 case per 2 poll books, so you'd only need half as many if you choose.
So the total cost is what is that now?
For the poll books is $77,230.
And that includes the license and the implementation, the installation, and all of that too.
The license, the units? So we're ready to go? Okay.
And we'll be all set up before the elections in the spring of 2026.
Yes, that's why that's why I came to this meeting, so we can get the
We can be
approval.
ready.
Get them ordered, and then we can start loading all of the information, the software, and testing it, and then getting the election board and all of our support people trained on them.
One other question, Debbie. Does the vote center, the specific vote center need to have Wi-Fi, or is Wi-Fi something that you supply? Or, like, I'm thinking, we now have Wi-Fi at the Roosevelt Lions Club.
We have the MiFis, yes. Yeah, for each, and that was set up to where all of the information can go to Central Point. Now it'll go to Connect, and that way we've got reports that we can track everything. Both the parties like to have the numbers
To know
of
who's out
voters
voting.
throughout the day, so we can pull that up.
So
from
you
that.
don't use like a Wi-Fi from a site that might be used? Do you have your own?
It's state
Right.
required that it has to be a secure network, it has to have certain parameters it meets, that is by state law. And then also, if your vote centers, it is required that you have to have electronic poll books, and they have to have a connection only to notify other vote centers that someone voted. So it's not transferring any other data other than John Doe walked into poll location A. So now if he went over to poll B immediately, it would say just John voted.
Yeah,
It
but-
doesn't record anything else.
Got
So
it.
that's it's still the same connection that will be used, approved. They will connect to the old MiFi's the same way that the other poll books did.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you're purchasing other than the new poll books?
I'm sorry, sir, what?
Is there anything else you're purchasing other than the new poll books?
We are getting new printers.
Okay, that's what I thought.
With that, yes. So the printers we have currently, this poll book is not compatible to do the ballot on demand. So we will be going to a shorter and a smaller printer. We don't have to have the laptops. So we're going to cut down on our 6-foot cart to where we just have smaller equipment to move as well.
Is that part of this request? The
Part-
cost
yes,
of the printers?
yes.
Part of this
Part of
request?
my the transferring and part of this
Okay.
money, yes, is for the,
So that's included in the
Printers as well.
77,230, or is that more, is that in addition to the 77,230, the printers? Because I'm seeing here printers,
yeah, there's,
printing, 17. So is that?
so the ballot on demand equipment is the printers.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we're just replacing printers that we currently have,
Okay.
which we have roughly 40, maybe.
45 is what this is for. Is it 45 or people?
Yeah, so, yeah.
Okay.
And those are coming those are old, outdated, older version of printers too, just as these poll books were. So it's kind of end of life for a few things too, but now these new ones, again, are gonna be the brand new product that's out certified. And it does have to be, all of the things that you use also have to be what was certified with the state too. So a lot of times your old Oki printer was a certification in the past that's grandfathered, but now moving forward, there's a new product line that the state certified, so now the Brother, I think, what's the
Yeah,
chart?
it's the Brother.
Those are now the new certified suite of equipment that will all work together.
You might want to stand up at the
Oh, sorry.
lectern when you do that.
Did you hear that part though?
I did, but I'm
Yeah,
not
we
sure if
did, but
anybody
we're
else
being
did.
recorded, so just so everybody that's might be
Okay.
watching
Yeah.
online.
I was just
can
saying,
hear.
the
Yeah.
printers that you currently have too are a much older version of product. So the state certifies every piece of equipment that is used. And now this Brother printer that works with the ballot on demand printing of the poll book, this is now the certified suite of products that are together. So it's a much older product of printer that's now being replaced with the newest version that will now have a longer lifespan, just like the poll books.
Okay.
Well, I'm looking forward to a nicely ran election next year.
I think
Thank you very much.
you will hear lots of praise from your poll workers when they see this difference of the functionality and the interface.
One other feature is now the voter has to give their driver's license, their ID to the poll worker. The poll worker can actually scan their driver's license themselves.
Instead of, you had a hand scanner in the past. So now, yeah, there's a camera on the poll book that they'll just place it in front of the camera and it will capture their information through the BMV system to now pull up who they are.
Any other questions for Debbie? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up on the agenda, Sheriff. Hobble on up here, buddy.
I tried to get close to the podium, but Christina wouldn't let me sit any closer. I don't know. Good afternoon, how we doing?
Good afternoon.
Doing well.
Appreciate everybody, or a few of you coming. We had trunk or treat last night at the sheriff's office, 5 to 7. I don't know how many people
Oh,
we
nice.
had come, but quite a few people. We had people parking across the street, I don't know, 500 or so. Ish people came. We had the auditor's office, HR. I mean, we had a few, 15 different vendors, I think, that came and did it. So it was nice. It was a nice night. Weather was
Good.
perfect.
Yeah.
What I'm doing for this is we have a lateral transfer correctional officer. So we need to basically do an additional appropriation for $2,691.25. The service bonus will be $2,500 to the employee, and then FICA is $191.25. We'll pay that out of commissary, but we had to do an additional appropriation, so we'll cut a check out of commissary to cover this, but that's what this
Yeah, it's
additional
good news.
appropriation is.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Congratulations.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it looked like an infirmary when Martha and I were walking into the meeting tonight together too, so it was a little rough.
Yeah, yeah.
But we're gonna make it, Martha.
We are,
We're
we
gonna make
are.
it.
He had foot surgery, so
Yeah,
he was walking with a boot.
yeah,
Yeah.
cane and a boot. Tough. Questions?
Any other questions for Sheriff? All right,
Thank you,
sir.
appreciate it.
Next up, we have the CASA Fund, and there's Holly.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm just asking for the appropriation for the $3,000 for the Travel and Training Fund. That's from a grant that we got from Drug Free Howard County, and that grant was specifically to help us with travel expenses related to out-of-county visits. And so it's not a request for new funds, it's just a deposit of those grant funds.
Sure. So you're working with Mr. Pruitt. He offered this incentive or grant funding, and you guys took advantage of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Excellent.
Holly, how you doing with your volunteers? You getting any more volunteers? You mentioned that probably at least a year ago, and it was an ongoing challenge. And I'm guessing it may still be a challenge, but can you give us a brief update?
Sure. It is still a challenge. We do currently have some volunteers in training. Our volunteers, before they even get started, have to do 35 hours of training and then 12 additional hours of training every year before they can really start working with our kids. So once we get volunteers through the training, then of course we get them appointed to the case, and that case is typically open for close to a year, sometimes much longer than a year. So once we get a volunteer in, we have them tied up with the case immediately. So we're constantly needing more volunteers. We just are having trouble, like all the CASA programs in the state, recruiting at a fast enough pace to keep up with the number of referrals that are coming in. It's a huge ask. The travel, the time commitment, the length of the time commitment, and then of course writing court documents and appearing and testifying in court. It's a big ask of people, and we have some of the greatest people in the county volunteering for our program. We just need more. So recruitment is going to be an ongoing thing for us. We have a contractor right now working with us on doing some of that, and she's doing a fantastic job of getting into some organizations to let people know what we do and to help get some people in our doors.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's such a wonderful service for these little kids that need somebody to represent them, and thank you for what you do. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I know some kids in your program, yes.
Anything else for Holly? All right, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Mr. Vest, do I call this the FEP grant, or what do you call it?
That works.
Okay.
Preparedness grant?
All right.
Yeah, it stands for Public Health Emergency Preparedness. So, seeking approval for appropriations of the grant money for the preparedness grant. It's $20,000 this year, and that's a fiscal year grant, so it was technically effective July 1st of this year. So we're looking to appropriate those funds. It's basically broken down into salary, FICA, and then the rest is a little bit of supplies. So,
Yeah, I remember this was kind of the odd one. It's not calendar year, it's
Yeah,
fiscal year, so.
it makes it
yeah.
a little more difficult for everyone, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it's usually 25,000, but it was reduced this year to 20. So,
Your poor
like
department.
everything. Yep. Any questions for me?
So just to be clear, it's already been deposited, you're just asking to get it into the right account?
It's actually one that we invoice, so we
Okay.
spend it first and then we
Okay.
invoice it. But,
Perfect.
yeah,
Yeah.
our budget was approved by the state, so it's.
Absolutely.
Just one comment. Thank you that the public health education side of the public health group has been given a series of monthly talks on different preparedness, readiness, be prepared, don't be scared. And that's been well received at
Yeah.
Roosevelt, at the Lions Club in Roosevelt. So thank you for
Yeah, we appreciate
having
that. Bethany over here is a big part of that.
I have.
Yeah, I thought I saw you in some pictures. Yeah, Christina Summers, she's the preparedness coordinator. She's doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah, it's been good and well received.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of positive things about it, so
Yeah.
we appreciate that.
Cool.
Good job.
All right. Thank you
All right.
very much.
Thank you.
Looks like that was the last item under the additional appropriations. Do I have any comments or motions?
Mr. President, I move we approve these additional appropriations as
Second,
All right, motion's been properly made and seconded by Councilman Faulkner and Councilwoman Lake. All those in favor of the approval of ordinance 2025 HCCO 43, assign aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, additional appropriations carry. Next up on the agenda, we have transfers.
Resolution number 2025 HCCR 20 transfers. Whereas the county council may approve the transfer of money from one major budget classification to another within a department or office. If the transfer does not require the expenditure of more money than the total amount set out in the budget as finally determined, and if the transfer is approved at a regular public meeting and by the proper ordinance. Be it resolved by the County Council of Howard County that it's desired and deemed necessary that the following transfers be made within the accounts of the designated funds as set out below. County General Fund, Coroner, equipment repair to uniform protective clothing, $150. Dues and subscriptions to uniform protective clothing, $300. Equipment to uniform protective clothing, $450. Election, office supplies to equipment, $12,500. Maintenance and service contracts to equipment, $60,000. Advertisement and publication to equipment, $1,500. Printing to equipment, $17,500. Equipment repair to equipment, $2,500. Meal reimbursements to equipment, $2,500. Rental lease fees to equipment, $10,000. Probation officer GS to probation officer RS, $250. Probation officer GS to probation officer SF, $250. Lit special purpose fund jail, correctional officer to overtime correctional officer, $85,000. Part-time correctional officer to overtime correction officer, $20,000. Lit public safety fund dispatcher to overtime dispatcher, $75,000. Probation VOCA grant fund, insurance to other supplies, $1,029.48. Insurance to travel and training, $250.
All right, thank you very much. With that being read, I will have our coroner, David Granger, come on up.
I have a couple new deputies. One just started this week, and the other one started a few months ago. So I'd like to request to transfer, it's a total of $900 to the uniform protective clothing account, because I need new clothing for them, update some for some of the existing deputies, and I also need to get a new badge. But before we do, Jessica, can I double check? I want to make sure I heard you right on a couple of the numbers. The dues and subscriptions account, how much did you have from the dues and subscriptions?
$300,
And how much did you have for the equipment?
$450.
Well, there's two equipments. Equipment fund.
The equipment repair, you had $150, and then the regular equipment, it was $450.
Yeah, I think we've got two of them flip-flopped.
Okay.
Let me show you what I.
So the $900 total is right, we just need to flip those two.
The 900 total's right, but it's coming from three different accounts. I think two of them are flip-flopped.
Mm-hmm.
Good catch.
So, okay. So the equipment repair needs to be $450, and the regular equipment needs to be $300. And then the dues and subscription is $150. Right? Okay, equipment repair, $450, yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
thank you for correcting that.
That's really all I have. Unless you have questions on it or anything?
I appreciate the email with all the communication ahead of time, so thank you for that, giving us the heads up.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have County Clerk again, Deb Stewart.
Okay, so as we talked just a little bit ago, with having no special elections this year, I was able to move over everything in my election budget except for the salaries. I didn't move that money over because I didn't want to have a new salary ordinance that you guys needed to approve. So by leaving the salaries where they're at, that money will just go back at the end of the year. So the transfer I'm requesting is $106,500 with the $45,000, and that should cover all of the equipment.
Yep, perfect. That's the number I got too. Yeah, so at the end of the day, those salaries, if there's left over, that'll roll back to the general fund, so that'll help offset even more the additional we just did, so,
Yep.
makes sense. Any other questions for Debbie?
So are you just transferring in there to have it there, or is there additional equipment you're planning to purchase?
No, this is for this transfer over to the equipment,
That's for
plus
these?
the $45,000 appropriation will pay for all of the
Okay, so
equipment.
I'm, maybe misheard something, because I thought that it was 77,230 was the total for this. That was
For
not
just the poll
for
books.
So the
And
rest
then,
is.
then we're getting the printers as
So,
well.
okay.
Yeah.
So that, okay, I thought that included the printers.
Yes, so that's why the transfer of the money is to help offset
Okay.
most of the cost.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next we have juvenile probation. Connie Burton will not be here tonight, but Carrie Reniker has been deemed worthy to represent her tonight.
Good afternoon. Connie's request stems from an approved PAC request to transfer some funds from a juvenile probation officer that retired who had supervisory level status. But we split out those supervisor duties to two other juvenile probation officers. And on the state salary schedule for probation officers, if you have supervisor status, you get stipend for that, a $5,000 stipend that has been divided between the two individuals that are now taking over those duties. So this is just to transfer, that was approved for this year and then also for 2026 by PAC. So this request is just to transfer some funds into those two probation officers' accounts, salary accounts, so that we can pay them out this year.
Will that then need to be addressed for the 26 budget after the first
I
of the year?
believe it already was.
Oh, okay, perfect. You're on.
And that should be 2,500 for both of those. Because it's 5,000 split out, okay.
Okay.
Because it said 250, so I wanted to make sure that one was correct.
2,500?
2,500 for both.
Okay.
Okay.
Any questions?
All right. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Sheriff, you're back up again, sir.
Hello again.
Hello.
Looks like we have a couple transfers. Correctional officer to overtime and then part-time correctional officer to overtime. Looks like we're getting there. One short, and then I have two in the military that are gone for a little bit of time. And then at dispatcher, we have dispatcher to overtime dispatcher. We're actually 5 short in dispatch, so we're really struggling for dispatch more than anything. Not the easiest job in the world to do by any stretch.
Definitely not.
So it'd be nice to get some new folks up there.
Yeah.
So, but do a transfer because we're short in those areas.
Mhm.
Do you communicate with the ones that are in the military whenever they're on a deployment, or do you have any formal or informal communications?
I don't know that we, no. I don't.
Are they getting paid?
Yes. They're getting paid by the military, not by us. So that we save their jobs, but we use that salary to then we can transfer to overtime or whatever. But yeah, we don't, none of the salary goes to them from us. They strictly military salary. Yeah. I did see one, not a couple months ago. He came home for leave for a little bit, one of the gentlemen, so we got to speak then.
Yeah.
But yeah, normally I would not hunt them down,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking of hunting him down. I was thinking just being
chit-chat.
friendly, your normal
Being
friendly
friendly.
self.
Yes.
I know you probably dread this question, but how close will this get you to the end of the year, or you don't know?
I think we still need to do, we have 4 more pay periods.
Yeah.
Right.
Sweet. Good news.
She has spoken. We'll see.
Okay. Anybody else on the sheriff's transfer request? Okay. Moving on. Community corrections, everybody welcome Ms. Cole back to the stand.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
We just have our VOCA Grants of Fiscal grant as well, and it kind of was coming to an end, so our supervisor, while I was out, had talked to the grant coordinator, and they had approved for us to use some of the insurance unused grant funds for supplies and travel and training, and so that's what the request is for there, for that transfer that they had approved.
Okay. Any questions? All right. Thank you very much. Okay, that's the last item for our transfers. Do you have any discussion or motions?
Mr. President, I move we approve the transfers as presented.
Second.
All right. Motion's been properly made and seconded by Councilman Alexander and Councilman Roberts. All those in favor, sign aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Transfers carry. Okay, next item of business is the salary ordinance amendments.
Ordinance number 2025 HCCO 44, salary ordinance amendments. An ordinance amending and increasing staffing and salary authorization to be paid county employees for the calendar year effective January 1, 2025 through December 31, 2025, as originally approved for the year 2025, except where otherwise noted. Be it ordained by the Council of Howard County, Indiana, that for the said fiscal year, the following salary amendments are approved as additional changes to the basic salary ordinance for the same fiscal year. Necessary personal services appropriations have been approved previously to support the required expenditure of necessary funds. County General, Probation, Probation Officer, GS, reduction, $5,000. Probation Officer, RS, $2,500. Probation Officer, SF, $2,500. Lit Special Purpose Fund, Jail, FICA, $191.25. Employee Service Bonus, $2,500. Correctional Officer, reduction, $85,000. Part-time Correction Officer, reduction, $20,000. Overtime Correction Officer, $105,000. Lit Public Safety Fund, Dispatcher, reduction, $75,000. Overtime Dispatcher, $75,000. PEP Grant Fund, Part-time Preparedness Coordinator, $17,247. FICA, $1,328. Probation VOCA Grant Fund, Insurance Reduction, $1,279.48.
Nicely done. Any discussion or comments on these salary ordinance amendments? Anyone want to make a motion?
I move to approve ordinance number 2025 HCCO 44 as read.
Second.
Motion's been properly made and seconded by Councilwoman Lake and Councilman Sanders. All those in favor, assign aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Ordinance carries. Moving on to old business, we have the approval of the 2026 budget session minutes. I thought about having Jessica read the whole 24 pages, but I think we will just go on what we have had in our packet to review. Do I have any discussion on this?
Mr. President, I move we approve the minutes as presented.
Okay.
Second.
Motion's been properly made and seconded by Councilman Faulkner and Councilman Roberts. All those in favor of approving those minutes, assign aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, minutes are approved. Moving on to new business, you should have in your packet before you the proposed council meeting schedule for the 2026 calendar year. Is there any discussion or changes on that? Hearing none, we will need a motion to approve these meeting dates for next year.
Mr. President, I move to approve the calendar of council meetings for 2026.
Second.
All right, motion's been properly made by Councilman Alexander and seconded by Councilwoman Lake. All those in favor of approving the council meeting schedule, assign aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Meeting schedule is set. Okay, next on the agenda is the Public Safety Lit resolution. I'm going to have Madam Auditor read, and then we will open up the floor for some discussion.
Resolution number 2025 HCCR 22. Resolution of the Howard County Council voting in favor of an ordinance of the Local Income Tax Council of Howard County, Indiana, increasing the tax rate for the county's monthly certified distributions of additional revenue from the expenditure rate of local income tax allocated for public safety purposes.
So we have a representative from Barnes and Thornburg here tonight, and Max will come up and give us a little bit of a synopsis of this and answer any questions that the council has. And then after that, we will open up to the public.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, council members. My name is Max Adams with the law firm of Barnes and Thornburg, here to present the resolution voting in favor of the local income tax increase. This local income tax increase is related to the jail project that I know the county's been working hard on. The current local income tax structure in Indiana requires that certain local income tax rates, including the one that's been proposed tonight, require a vote of the local income tax council of the county. So what the local income tax council is made up of is the fiscal bodies of each municipality in the county, as well as the county council as a fiscal body for the county. If you recall, I think it was earlier this month or maybe at the end of last month, both the commissioners and this council voted on resolutions informally requesting that these local income tax increases take place. Following those votes, the Kokomo City Council last week unanimously voted in favor of this local income tax increase. That was last Monday, the 20th. This meeting, the public hearing has been properly noticed. In the notice, you may have noticed that it said a local income tax increase not to exceed 1.2%. Conversations with the city, I know many of you have been involved in that. The city is actually going to contribute its share of the increased local income tax towards the project. Because they're contributing their share of the taxes, instead of having to increase this rate by 1.2%, the county only needs to increase its rate by 0.4%. If the county was taking on the, contributing only its share towards the project rather than Kokomo also contributing its share, then we would need the full 1.2%, but I just wanted to clarify that point because the notice and the resolution itself are written a little differently. I was asked about what the impact would be for taxpayers. This a 0.4% increase equals about $180 per year for an income level of $50,000. That was prepared by Baker Tilly, who serves as municipal advisor to the county, has been helping on this project. This will get us towards about just shy of $10 million annually towards this project. It's as you all are aware, it's a fairly large project. And this rate will only be in effect until 2027. So I'm sure many of you are aware, it's Senate Enrolled Act 1, big changes to the property tax system as well as the local income tax system in Indiana. So the current local income tax structure will be in effect until July 2027 when we switch to the Senate Enrolled Act 1 structure, unless things change in the interim, which is probably very likely. But at that point, then the county would need to revisit its local income taxes and adopt new structures, not just for this project, but for any fund really that, pulls from local income taxes. So that's, this proposed resolution, this proposed increase will only take effect until those changes take place, at which point the county would need to revisit its local income taxes. I think I covered everything, but happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Max?
I have a question. So originally, with the 1.2%, what we anticipated would be the tax increase. What would that have been, what hit would that have been for taxpayers if you compare the numbers of the 180 approximate dollars?
I went to law school. Not.
I didn't know if you had that in front of
No,
you.
I unfortunately don't. I would like to think it would just be the $360 per year, but I'm not sure that math quite shakes out. But it would be,
approximately 3 times.
Yes.
So
yes.
maybe $600.
Yes, I think
reasonably. So, I guess because of the things that have happened in the last so many weeks, the impact to the taxpayers is a third, but we're still receiving the same amount of revenue.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Should that be considered a gift from the city?
I don't know if I should answer that question.
It is a united way for the county and the city to help fund the jail, and it's much appreciated.
I agree. I think the city realized that, obviously benefits all the municipalities in the county, so.
Well, it's not a question, but since we're going there, I was going to do this, but I just want to go on record as thanking the Kokomo County Common Council for agreeing to do this and to help out as far as paying for this new facility. It's much appreciated by us, and I'm sure by the taxpayers as well.
Yes. And I'd like to go on record to say the same thing, because it is not nearly as scary under these circumstances as it would have been otherwise, and the city's been wonderful.
Amen to that.
All right. Anybody else got questions for Max? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. So now I assume there's some people that'd like to voice some opinion. I will allow about 2 to 2.5 minutes for everybody to come up and ask some questions. We'll be happy to answer what we can, and let's try to keep it somewhat cordial and not let this get out of hand, please. So anybody want to come up and speak? Oh, and please state your name and address, please.
My name is Michael Amatuzzo. Thank you for your time. I just, I'm just going to make a statement. Not a big fan of jails or raising taxes. I'm sure that most of you, if not all of you, are familiar with the Word of God. Actually, the Word of God is a criminal justice handbook. I don't know if you've ever thought about it that way, but it is. God never told us to treat human beings like animals and put them in cages where we house them, feed them, and entertain them. Do we consider what a drain that is on our society, on this community? We don't have a justice system. It's just a system. It's broken, and our crime rate is just the fruit of our labor. We don't need a bigger and nicer jail. What we need is a reduction in criminals. When the people don't see the justice of God, they shake their fist at God, and that's what criminals do. And that is on us as a society. Instead of jails, we need criminals to make restitution to their society. We need the swift execution of the consequences to their crime. We only need holding cells to accomplish that. We need to send a message to criminals that if they break the law in this community, there will be swift consequences to their actions. Until they see the justice of God, they will never understand the love of God. Human beings are our greatest commodity. Instead of locking them up, let's create better citizens. One of the greatest examples and the greatest injustice in this country is a slaughter of in excess of over 3,000 to 4,000 unborn every day in this country, robbing us of our greatest resource, people. And we wonder why we have so much crime. Instead of raising our taxes and building this new jail, we have a unique opportunity to lead and show the rest of the country how to truly reduce crime and make better citizens. We have become nicer than God. And in our foolishness, we think we can do justice better. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Amatuso.
Hello, my name is Bethany Wenger. I live at 2010 Creekstone in Kokomo, Indiana. I was listening to Max talk about the way that this local income tax is going to generate $10 million per year from the county, and I'm trying to understand how all of this works. So I'm wondering, the total jail cost is a lot more than 10 million. So is this the plan for several years to have a long-term plan to pay for the jail that's going to be built before the end of the payoff? And also, given that Senate Bill 1 changes the way that the local income tax structure works or how the funding is provided to different county projects, can you guys provide insight into what conversations are already happening and how Howard County is preparing to respond for what Senate Bill 1 means for the local income tax? I hope those questions made sense.
Yes, they do. Anyone want to field that?
Go ahead. I was just going to say that according to Senate Bill 1, the local income tax structure is going to change in 2027. We don't know. I mean, there is in Senate Bill 1 some information about how that's going to change. I don't know if anybody up here has necessarily looked at that and memorized those changes to come. But yes, this is something this is for 2 years, this raise. Based on what changes are made in 2027, we'll have to go back and look at it. What changes those will be, I can't say now. I don't know if anyone up here probably can. We've also heard a lot of talk from state legislators that they may not be done with Senate Bill 1, that there may be some changes to that bill yet. None of us have any idea what that's going to look like. So we're kind of like you in a sense. We're playing this by ear and trying to do what we have to do right now. But what we do know is we have, because of the changes in property tax, we're going to have significantly fewer dollars coming in, and we have to do just as much with those fewer dollars. And in fact, in this case, we have to do more because we're court mandated to build this jail. So,
Do we have what the cost of the jail will be?
Not officially. We have not gone to bid on it yet. We are still discussing and trying to get designs kind of hammered out, waiting on architecture firms. I think it would be somewhere, it's over 100. I think it's somewhere around 125 to 130,
That's what I
which is
thought.
a huge number, and we are all
It's a lot
well,
of $10 million.
well aware of that.
So it's we'll be paying on it for a while.
So it
bond.
would be a
It's a
20-year
bond
bond, a 20-year
okay.
term, we'll have to bond on it. And so this is the start of that to kind of get some revenue stream in so that we can bond against it. Otherwise, you can't do this.
So when Senate Bill 1 changes the structure of the local income tax in 2027, does it allow for each of the 92 counties in Indiana to generate their own new structure, or will it still be like a statewide, like uniform structure? Are we, as Howard County, in communication with other counties about how we're going to respond?
I believe it's statewide. The only thing I do know is that, as I think was said earlier, the county tax council right now is made up of this body, Kokomo, all the like Rushville, Greentown all have a vote in there. In 2027, this council will become the tax body.
So Kokomo Common Council won't be
That's
a member
correct.
anymore? It will just be the
It'll be this
Howard County
council
Council?
for local income tax. So that's one change. Other than that, I don't know if you know what the other changes are.
Sure, Max, come on
Yeah,
up
go
and
ahead.
educate us all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good question.
Yeah.
So in 2027, right now, the two bodies that, there's different, I guess, expenditure rates right now for local income taxes under the current system. There's, this public safety lit, there's a lit rate for acute care hospitals that you can adopt. There's just like different allocated uses of local income taxes. In 2027, that's going to shift to I think they're calling it a general revenue rate. So the county will be able to levy its own rate, and then the county for, the one that it has control over, it will be the tax body to adopt those rates. Because of the property tax changes, though, the legislature has also given the ability to municipalities to adopt their own rate as well, and the city council, town council will be responsible for adopting those rates. So when it comes to 2027, the county is going to have to, assess its needs and adopt a rate accordingly, as well as the municipalities, so.
And I believe that's every year we have to change our rate based on.
It
our
is,
needs.
that needs to be recertified every year, and that might possibly be one of the things that the legislature looks at changing, because that has an effect on bond
Bonding.
ratings and interest rates and stuff like that.
Does the max rate go up as well at that point a little bit?
The total rate it goes up, I think, by about 0.2%, so not necessarily what you can levy, but if you think about someone in Kokomo, it could be the county, because they're in the county, so they would be subject to the county local income tax rate. They also would be subject to the Kokomo local income tax rate if the city of Kokomo adopts a local income tax rate. So I think the total amount that you could be, that could be assessed goes up, not by much, but again, because of the property tax constraints, I think you'll see a lot more counties and cities take advantage of those local income tax rates to offset the property tax losses. Whereas now, maybe they just kind of are sitting on the lower end of what they're able to assess, maybe in the middle. Now they may be kind of bumping up against the limits of what they're able to.
Well, and I'd point out too that even with this 0.4%, we're still going to be a bit below what the max would be. We're not, and we don't want to go up to the max. We don't want to raise the tax at all, honestly. But we're still below what that max allowed rate is, even after this.
Did that answer kind of what you were getting at?
I think so.
Okay.
Thank you,
It's
Max.
very complicated, so I understand. It's taken us a lot of time to try to chew through it, so. Commissioner?
Commissioner Jack Dodd. I can't answer a couple of these questions, and so I'm going to back up a little bit. The question about how much would this have affected the average taxpayer, I did talk to the accountants, and that amount would have been $588. So if we would have went on our own to the full amount. So by partnering with the city, then that amount was lowered to about $180. One thing that's important to remember to the citizens of Kokomo, they are citizens of Howard County as well.
Correct.
So that's why this partnership is so important. We talk about Howard County and Howard County citizens utilizing our jail. Citizens of Kokomo also utilize our jail. So that's why this partnership between the city of Kokomo and Howard County is so important. So this was a partnership that allowed us to use this much lower rate and affect the citizens of Howard County and citizens of Kokomo, citizens of Rushville, citizens of Greentown at a much lower rate. So this was important that this happened. It is only for 2 years, as the council member pointed out. The bond, that payment, will go on for 20, 25 years. So the jail will not be paid for in 2 years, unfortunately. It'd be nice if that could happen, but it won't. So this bond payment's gonna go on for 20, 25 years. We don't know the final cost, but we are trying to keep it at $130 million. We are really struggling to do that. We do not want it to exceed that. Now, that sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money. But we got to remember that the cost of construction really has skyrocketed in the last few years. Now, somebody said the other day that if we could just remodel our current jail, the cost of that would have been $30 million. That is in error.
Yep.
We had two companies come in and look at our current jail to see about renovations, if that could be utilized. That cost to renovate our current jail was about 90 to 95 million. And then we would have been completely landlocked. That jail could never have been added on to or renovated, ever. You know, the big cost of renovating is always your kitchen and your laundry. Our current kitchen and our current laundry is located in the central of the jail. So you'd have been knocking down walls and just all kinds of stuff and adding beds. Do we want to expand, build a new jail? No. But you know, at one time, we had 500 people in that bed, or in that jail. That jail is, we really should have about 292 in that, our current jail. So we started looking around, we said, can we renovate? No. Could we build a new jail across the street, south of where the jail is? We checked with IDEM. IDEM told us, no, you cannot build there. It's contaminated property. So that was shot down. We looked at lots of potential places, and we settled on the current location of Markland and Dixon. There's 48 acres there. We looked at potential for future uses for the county. So we're going to build this jail because we have to, because we've been mandated to. And just because a federal judge told us we have to, doesn't mean that we have to build a huge, humongous jail. But we can build it for the future. Doesn't mean we're going to add on to it for the future. But we can at least think towards the future. Are we going to build a Taj Mahal? No, we are not. Are we going to build a grand hotel for inmates? No, we are not. We're going to do this with input. We're going to do this methodically. And we're going to do this with the taxpayer in mind. So I just want to clarify just a couple of those things. Funny thing I heard today that the county has been putting people in jail just so we could build a new jail. Now, these are the kind of things, kind of rumors that get out there. In the last several years, even before I became a commissioner, the county has added courts, we've added prosecutors, we've added public defenders, we've added specialty courts, we've done a huge number of things trying to keep the population at the jail to a minimum. Today, we are required to keep that population at 292. We send about 30-ish prisoners to other counties at a cost of $40 per day. We have to build this jail. We need to build this jail. So that's what we're working on. So I just want to get up and answer a few of those questions. On Facebook, we're trying to answer questions as they come up. On our county website, we have a place that says jail information. We're going to post information there. So if you have questions, let us know. We'll try to post information there for the public. Once we get a final design. We'll post that design so people can see it. So we appreciate the input. We appreciate working with all you council members on this, members of the jail committee. So we thank you for all your help. Questions for me? Thank you.
No, thank you, Jack. Appreciate it.
I did want to respond because that was the first thing I was going to say. My name's Ann Eames, 329 East Furman. Thank you all. I told the city council, thank you for serving, and I really appreciate all you guys for serving too. And I was going to correct the statement I made to the city council, Commissioner Dodd, because the DLZ study that I had looked at, just vaguely understood, but it did say 30 to 40 million, but to add 400 beds. And so as part of the renovation, that's why you said, I believe it's 100 million for the renovation.
Ballpark, yeah.
Right. So anyway, just wanted to address that and correct that what I said was
You're all right.
low. But the stewardship part of all this is what I did want to ask about, because we moved here in '87, and then the new jail was built in '93. One of the guards took myself and my children through it. We saw the fancy, brand new open concept idea of it. She told me, you're going to be walking around through some murderers and you're going to be walking around through everything. Okay? But what was shocking to me, that it's only 32 years old. And then a new roof was put on back in, 2021, I believe. But that's the kind of stewardship I don't see happening. And I don't understand that, because a building that's only 32 years old should not be having to be totally replaced like this. I'm sorry, I just can't excuse that, and I don't understand that. So good stewardship of my money, my children's money, my little granddaughter's money. I just want every dollar to be very much weighed by you all and thought about. So the other thing, as a conflict of interest, I do want to ask, is there anybody that has any conflict of interest that should be declared before this goes through? And I would suggest one of those is voting for bonds, because I have seen boards vote for these projects, vote for the, financing of it, and then they themselves buy all the bonds. And that really bothers me. It's a big conflict of interest in my mind. I just don't see how people can go to sleep and do that kind of thing to a community. If you're going to, you need to make sure those bonds are available for the community and not yourselves, please. So that's what I'd like to say. Two quick things, since I'm a water person. I just want you to know that IDEM has declared a severe drought. They're looking for static height on wells. Please, anything involving water, please, please, please ask the right questions about that on any kind of developments. And then I've got the statement from IDEM. I'll give you each one of those. And then, let's see, the voting machines. I've worked a lot of polls. I really never wanted us to go computer, guys, and that's what we're stuck in now. Buying this equipment, upgrades and upgrades and upgrades. There are people in our county that can hand count, and I've got a whole team of people that would be willing to help with all that, so we wouldn't have to be stuck with the computer systems. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Mr. President, if I may.
Absolutely.
Answer one of Ann's questions. Mechanically speaking, Ann, we're all as bewildered as you are at how a building so newly built, 1993, can be antiquated so soon. It's out of our control, for one. None of us here were involved in that process. Two, to make sure we wasn't wasting any money, we appointed a special jail committee with 3 council members on it, and they studied it for over a year to make sure we don't repeat a past mistake, okay? I think it's a mistake. I'm in the mechanical business, and buildings should last a long, long time, a lot longer than this. But there are some issues with that, and it's just not big enough. Our jail population has increased larger than that. It is landlocked. The design of that it is, it's just not created to add on to easily. It's supposed to be, but in reality, it's not. And we turned over every stone. We don't want to build a new jail, but we want these people who need to be there there. So, it's a more of those, but mechanically, we won't be repeating the same mistake. This jail will be big enough to last a long, long time. And it'll be adequate, it'll be legal. We won't be damaging anybody by putting them out there, but they'll be out of society for the time being.
Just asking the questions.
Yeah, it's a good question. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Joe Russo. Excuse me. I live at 6412 West, 320 South. So the first thing I'd like to say is I think we need to correct the record on what happened with this lawsuit. So it's been said that the federal judge is forcing this upon this community. That's not accurate. I spoke with my business attorney and discussed it at length with him. And I got the settlement agreement. So what this is this is what's called a private settlement agreement that was entered into between the county and the ACLU on behalf of the residents of the jail. A federal judge cannot enforce this. So we're telling everybody in the community that we're being mandated by a federal judge, which that's not the case. The federal judge's role in this case was to approve the settlement. That's it. And it says it directly in the document. So I think you guys, when you're talking about this, instead of saying we're being forced, this was an agreement between the county and the ACLU. Simple as that. Okay? In terms of the jail and what's going on with the jail, you guys did this report last year called the Jail and Justice System Assessment. So it was done back in June 3rd through 5 of 2024. So I've gone through this and come up with some key points that they noticed on there. My question, seems like we're trying to apply a great big bandage to a wound that's been going on for a long time. And from what this report says, there's some systemic issues that have been dealt with, or that we haven't dealt with throughout this community for a long time. And I'll just summarize some of the key points. It says justice system inefficiencies, delays in case processing, inconsistent judicial practices, and limited use of diversion programs. That's one of the sightings in this report. It says over 70% of inmates are pretrial or unsentenced. Why? Mental health resources are severely lacking. It says alternatives to incarceration exist but are inconsistently applied. Increase in violent crime and level 6 felony cases burden the jail. Probation violations and lack of bail options keep people incarcerated longer. The consultants also observe jail operates as indirect supervision due to staffing deficiencies contrary to its design. It says the facility is physically clean but functionally outdated. It says there's fragmentation between justice stakeholders and courts. The jail committee lacks a clear mission and system-wide collaboration. So the question is this. We want to build a bigger facility because we say we're overcrowded. But what are we doing? Who are the leaders in the community? You guys are. The commissioners are. What are you guys doing to resolve these issues that are being cans kicked down the road that are having an impact on how our jail works? Is anybody addressing the courts? Are you guys sitting together with the courts and saying, how can we remedy? Why is jail, or why is crime going up in the county? Has anybody addressed that? Why are we seeing more inmates? What's the basis for that? These seem like basic questions to me that would be asked that we need to resolve before we just say, let's go build a jail. Because if we don't deal with what the problem is, we're going to have this problem down the road. And no guarantee you can make, we're not going to see this issue again. That's bunk. There's no evidence for that. Because the evidence is, and it's been decades of this, that we've got systemic problems in our system here in this community. How do we fix them? That's my question.
Thank you, Joe. Couple points that I jotted down real quick. So we do have a magistrate court, and she is trying to help with the level 6s and the PTRs and all that. And I think she has done a great job enhancing that even after that report has been done. We kind of got her up and going a little bit late. We added a staff person to her court, a court reporter to help with that. And so I do believe that if they redid that study, they would find that much more improved. Diversion, we have done work release, community corrections. We've done all sorts of programs in specialty courts. Yes, maybe there could be some better work that needs to be done, but we're working on it. Ms. Cole is taking over community corrections. She's working real hard with all the judges, trying to improve how we handle the judicial system, because we know that it's a challenge and it's a bottleneck. To your first point about, the point about indirect supervision, Jerry, correct me if I'm wrong, but that jail was made to be a direct supervision jail, or was it made for an indirect? Yeah. New jails today are the indirect model, which is what we are contemplating to possibly build. Much more easy for our corrections officers to work in there, and safer for them. We're going to have better mezzanines in this to help our inmates be a little bit safer. And that, I think we're one of a handful of 2 or 3 left in the state that are the direct supervision model. So we are trying to get to the indirect because that's a better model for our inmates. Do you want to talk about the ACLU? You
If
want
I
me
could,
to?
real quick before the, also in response to, we don't know what's going to happen in 30 years, that's true. And I think it was Amy? Ann was talking about, why are we to the point after this shorter period of time we have to replace this jail? I wasn't involved, of course, when that jail was built, but my understanding is, at the time, people were saying that we're never going to need more beds than what's in this jail. That's going to be bigger than we'll ever need. Well, here we are now, 25, 30 years later, and we need more. So I don't think anybody's going to be able to sit here today and say, what's crime going to be like 30 years from now? Excuse me. Are we going to need more in 30 years? I don't know. I'm probably not going to be here to find out, but, I don't know what's going to be. None of us do. But what we have done here in anticipation is what Commissioner Dodd had mentioned, is if we could have built onto the current one and add some beds, and for about 90 million or whatever it is, saved, a few million. But in 30 years, we're asked to build on again. It's not happening at that spot. That's one of the reasons, not the only one, but that's one of the reasons that we chose to go to this new location and build a new one, because this land is such that if we needed to add on in 30 years, we have plenty of room to do it. That wouldn't be the case if we remodeled the one now. So we are anticipating, Councilman Roberts says that mechanically it should last longer. He's the expert there, I don't know. I've been told that jails, the lifespan of a jail, the building is much shorter than a lot of other buildings. That's not my area, but regardless, as far as needing a larger facility, we will be able to add on to this if we need to down the road. So just a couple of comments there.
Commissioner Dodd, I would like to address a couple issues, and you guys have done a great job on your responses. The jail, as we were told, is like dog years. A dog year is like 7 years. Well, that means our jail is about 210 years old. And the reason for that, you remember, these inmates are out there, and they're there 24/7. And many of them, 24/7, are thinking about ways to destroy that jail. I mean, they scratch the walls, and they scratch it so much that they have actually scratched all the mortar out of the wall, so they can communicate to the next cell. We've had some jail cell doors rust so bad that they were stripping metal off of the door to make weapons. I mean, that's no one's fault. We could replace all those doors, but at a cost. So there is a cost to keeping a jail around. Now, our sheriff's department's done a good job keeping that jail up, along with our council, previous councils. We're not going to go out there with a bulldozer and bulldoze down this jail. It's actually too good of a building just to go out there and bulldoze down. There are many uses that we can renovate this jail for and make it a worthwhile jail. You know, one of the things that was mentioned to help alleviate jail overcrowding was our work release program. We took the old jail and made that a work release program. So we're going, one possibility that I'd like to see happen is we move our work release program down to the current jail. So there's many possibilities in the use of that jail. Now, building this jail is going to take a little while. It's not going to be built next week. So we have to keep that jail current and livable for these inmates. So there's that. Have we worked with the courts? Yes. We met with the judges. Yes, they are working on it. I can't go into a judge and say, you shall. I don't have that authority. But we've asked questions about it. They are working on it. Our probation is working on it. We have, and Ms. Cole, if I tell you how many people we have in probation, but we have a lot of people on probation in Howard County. In other words, they'd be sitting in jail. So everything's being done, I think, that can be done. We have all the specialty courts, Veterans Court, Mental Health Court, Drug Abuse Court. We have all these specialty courts that give people opportunities. And these are very successful courts. People graduate from these courts so that they're not sitting in jail. So are we doing what we can? Yes. But one thing we can't do is prevent people from committing crimes. It's not something that this council can do. It's not something that the commissioners can do. But it is something that our citizens can do. They can stop committing crimes. And that sounds like a simplistic statement, and it is. But people are going to commit crimes, and our police officers are going to arrest people, and people are going to go to jail. That's the sad fact. So we have to do, one of our primary responsibilities as public officials is to make our community as safe as we can. And that's what we have to do. So I just wanted to address those issues. Thank you.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you all. My name is Nate Stout. I'm from 12850 West, 00 North South. So I am just barely in the far western side of this community. And we talked a lot about jails and law enforcement and spending money. And I come from corporate America. I don't really understand, the weird ways of government budgets. But what I do know is you guys were given a pretty tough hand by the state legislature this year. My question is twofold. One, is this jail not a second ACLU lawsuit? Wasn't this the last jail we did in the 90s? Wasn't that the result of that? And two, what other budget cuts are we looking at? I noticed, I drive a 2019 Dodge Ram. A lot of the sheriff's vehicles are nice Tahoes, Durangos. What are we doing to make sure that we're spending money in the most smart ways possible? Because in corporate America, times get tough, revenue's down, and guess what? Travel budgets get cut. Things get cut. I haven't heard anything about getting cut, other than my taxes going up. So, would love to hear your commentary. Thank you.
Thank you, Nate. I guess I would say you were probably correct that this was the second ACLU lawsuit. There's probably been more than that.
I'm not sure it's the second. It
Well,
might be
I think
one of many.
It's one of many, but this is the second one. The first jail was necessitated by an ACLU lawsuit as well, so you are correct on that.
I'm not certain it was an ACLU
Oh,
lawsuit.
okay.
There was an inmate named Richard Turner who was the plaintiff in the suit. He was represented by personal counsel. I'm not sure the ACLU was involved in that suit. But you're correct, that ended up with a consent decree that required the building of the jail as we have it now. That was late 80s when that happened.
Okay. Your second question about budget cuts, I think if you would go to any of our department heads in the county, they would tell you that they are not happy with us because we went through and cut and trimmed a lot of places, travel and training and stuff, very meticulously. It was not fun, and they are not happy with us. We are trying to balance our budget because we have a rough estimate of what we're bringing in, and we got really close to having a balanced budget. And we didn't actually lay anybody off that was on the table, but we tried to keep our county employees here to provide service for the county. If Senate Bill 1 continues to do what they think it could do, it could get really tough. So I'm hoping for some tweaks. But we did make hard decisions during budget time. And I appreciate your concern.
Commissioner Jeff Lipinski, I guess I wanted to address the ACLU lawsuit. Last November, almost this entire council, the commissioners, was in federal court in Indianapolis. And you're right, we came to an agreement, because if we didn't come to an agreement, they were very clear that we was in front of a magistrate judge, not a federal judge, in front of the magistrate. And he was very clear with us, Mr. Wilson can tell you this, that if we don't come to an agreement today, we're looking at millions and millions of dollars that we're going to spend in legal fees. And to be eventually told that we have to build a new jail. So, yes, it was an agreement, but the agreement was reached so that we could move forward and not end the ACLU lawsuit, but stop it at that point so it's not going to go further. So just to address that end of it. As far as the jail goes, Howard County has been up against this for the last 10 years. What we're going to do and how we're going to do it. You're 100% right. We need to look at the entire system and where it's working and where it's not. Why does Howard County have 4 courts and a magistrate, and other similar sized counties have 3? And they have a jail that has 500 beds and they only got 250 in it. These are all questions that I've had and I'm still working through and trying to resolve and answer every day. As far as the new jail, I think the best thing I can say is we cannot classify inmates. So they have a problem over there if just as an example, somebody that's in on I don't really want to say misdemeanor or a really low felony can be housed with somebody that's in there for a serious crime, and that creates all kinds of issues. So we can't supervise them correctly, and that's what's led to a lot of the problems. And we've had a lot of problems at the jail, and it's very evident of that, and it's on the forefront. So do we want to build a new jail? No. Are we being somewhat forced to build a new jail? Yes. So we're at the moment of truth here where we have to do something. And that's where this has all come from. As far as we went in with the idea that we was going to get out of there with probably $75 million for a new jail. And the next thing you know, when we got our first time back, it was $146 million. And there's no way that Howard County can pay for that. So we've been cutting and slashing and looking. Yes, it's going to be less than 130, and that's our hope and that's our goal. I believe if this is done correctly, that Howard County won't have to build a new jail for 50 more years. Does that help some of us in this room? No, because I won't be here, but it helps our other generation of our younger people that we won't have to do that, because this has to be done right. Howard County has a history of building jails every 30 to 35 years, and I would love to see us get away from that. So anytime the timing of this is bad because of what happened at the state legislature and the fact that monies are tight right now and revenues are real confusing, and these guys are trying to work through it. As a former employee of 33 years of the county, I can tell you that the county council has always been a very conservative body that has looked out for the taxpayers, sometimes to my detriment. I might not have been happy with them when I was a department head, but that's the fact that they were. So I can tell you these folks do look out for your best interest when it comes to your finances, and I know that that's hard to believe, and you say, well, I'm just a person up here doing it. I'm not a politician. I'm here, when I run for the office, it's because I was trying to look out for the best interest of the county. Some people would argue with this. These people back here would say, how do you look out for the best interest when solar was passed and things of that nature? So there's a lot of things in play here, but if we do it right, then Howard County should not have to build a new jail for the next 50 years, and I truly believe that, and I'm going to stand by that. Okay? Thank you.
Sure.
So Joe Russo, 6412 West. So I'm not criticizing what you guys are doing. I understand that there's a difficult task at hand. And I honestly want to commend the county council for not raising your salaries. I mean, because the city council did that right after they raised the LIT. So, you know, I commend you guys for doing that. The issue is, are we dealing with the systemic problems? And that's what I'm not hearing anybody addressing, right? And maybe it's going on behind the scenes. I don't know, because I'm just going by what data and information is available. I'm trying to scour that the best I can. But, you know, I understand everybody's pressed for money, but at the same token, looking out for the county taxpayers, you know, I talk to a lot of people in the county, and people are strapped right now. The economy's not the best. I work in the electronics industry. I serve all segments of electronics. I don't work for the general person. I work for manufacturers. And I can tell you every segment of electronics is pretty depressed right now. And so that's kind of, from my perspective, watching that, it's kind of an indicator of how the entire country's doing economically, right? And so just the concern, you know, and then the SB1. Everybody keeps blaming SB1. Oh, it's going to hurt us. I listened to a talk by the senator who actually introduced SB1, and the question was asked. SB1 did not deal with property assessment values. And that's the big hangup, because everybody in this room understands that all you got to do is go and assess the property value higher. You can get around it by assessing the property values higher. And that's the way it's been done for year after year, even though they have property tax caps of 1%, 2%, and 3%, depending on what you're doing. I just remonstrated against it this year because my property, my personal property's went up almost 90 grand in value in 1 year. I've been upside down. I built my house 8 years ago, and I've been upside down on my mortgage 3 times in 8 years. So the point is that I don't like seeing my taxes keep going up because I only have so much income to work off of. And that's the same way with everybody else in the community. I'm just trying to say, do we have alternatives? Do we have better things we can be doing? Is there other things we need to be looking at? Because like the guy, he works in industry. I'm a business guy too. I have to look at every little nook and cranny to find out where I can cut and pinch when the resources aren't there. And that's all I'm asking you guys to do, is be fiscally responsible. A balanced budget, great. If you guys can get there, I'm all for it. But, you know, at the end of the day, I know you're in a tough spot. I'm not trying to be a horse's patoot about things, but it's frustrating to see these documents get put out and see that there's systemic issues that have been going on for decades, and we're not addressing it. We're kicking the can down the road, and that's what I don't want to see happen anymore, because if we continue to do the same thing, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, right? And that's what we've been doing, and that's all I'm saying.
Hey, Joe?
Yeah.
Just background information here. Every question you've asked, we've asked, and we've asked, and we've asked, okay? This council it's been a humbling experience to work with the people on this council. The public perception is that everybody's in it for themselves, and that is the complete opposite of what it is in Howard County. I don't think I'm good enough to be up here with these people. They're all selfless, and we have a broad range of skill sets. Nothing's being ignored, and nothing is being pushed aside. These questions have been asked. We're trying to get the answers ourselves, and we know that there's issues. Howard County is a great place to live.
Absolutely.
And there again,
here's what I would say. The perception in the community from people I talk to is that it's too hush-hush, that there's not enough information being put out to the community. And what I'm saying is that if you want people to be on board.
Joe, can I stop you right there for a minute?
Go ahead.
Because about information being put out to the community, how many people do you know that even subscribe to the Kokomo Tribune, our newspaper? It's about 5,000, I think, last time.
Yeah, but the Kokomo only
subscribes
to Kokomo, right? And do they do out in the county? Because I know people in the county that can't get it.
Well,
I work the Tribune.
Okay.
We go to Clifton County through all of Howard County.
Okay.
All, like including Luceville. We have subscribers all throughout.
So I stand corrected on that one.
I don't want to, I'm glad you're here. It's nice to hear the people of our community because we work for you and we are you.
Right.
This tax that is going to go up, well, it's going to hit us too.
Sure.
In an equal proportion. But as far as information goes, we are fully transparent. Every meeting we have is broadcast. The records are kept on file for a long time.
Have you
And- but
ever
we-
tried to navigate your website?
Well, I tried to navigate my phone and I failed at that.
It's not the
You know,
easiest place to find information, let
Sure,
me tell you.
but there's numbers you can call to find out and ask the people who, if you're curious. The answers are there. There's nothing hidden. We work for
I'm not suggesting
the
that.
community. Nothing,
Can
that's
I
all I
make,
gotta
su-
say.
can I make a
That's
suggestion
all I
to
gotta
you all?
say. And I'm glad you're here, Joe.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The suggestion I would make is this: when we get these big projects like this, I think it would do the community a great boon, especially first for, because we're a big family in some respects. But if you guys did a town hall, these big projects are coming in, why not call?
There will be, I believe.
Not just a public hearing, but just a town hall. Come out and say, let's find a place, let's let the community come out, who comes, and let's the people talk, because there's wisdom in all of us, right? You guys are trying to solve a big, complicated issue. Maybe some of us bring something to the table that helps. I don't know. I try to do a lot of research, so I try not to walk up here and say stuff that's, unfounded. I try not to do that. But I think that would do a great boon for the community, is if you guys would do, some sort of town hall and say, hey, come out, let's talk about what's going on so we can inform you and educate you.
That would be good.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Joe.
it.
Hi, Bethany Wenger, 2010 Creekstone. To address your question about the systemic issues that create a need for incarceration, it's very nuanced and convoluted, obviously. I do expect to hear from, elected officials what is happening at that level to address systemic issues. I also recognize that nonprofits and churches and smaller government agencies have a responsibility, and just community members have a responsibility to step up and help as well. So what I want to invite all of you and everyone here to attend is some of the coalition meetings that happen in Howard County on a regular basis. So on the first Wednesday of every month at 12 p.m. at the community downtown campus on the second floor is the Mental Health Alliance meeting, where mental health providers, problem-solving court, probation officers, myself representing the health department, Minority Health Alliance, lots of different agencies come together and we talk about systemic mental and behavioral health challenges that we're seeing in our community. We try to problem solve, we talk about what resources are available, how we can activate them. We've got multiple mobile crisis units that are becoming available, like in rapid succession right now, because the landscape of behavioral health care is changing at a national level, really. But we used to have the community mental health centers in every county in Indiana. Now we're moving to a CCBHC model, which stands for something different, but it basically expands the ability of providers to be able to give services to individuals and changes insurance codes and all kinds of stuff that you don't really care about. But those are the conversations that are happening at that meeting. I implore you all to come, listen, talk, share your thoughts, share what you see, etc. There's also the Nonprofit Council and Faith Leader Council meeting that happens the third Thursday of every month at Indiana Wesleyan University's Thriving Center right in front of Walmart. It's at 9:30 a.m. Nonprofit and Faith Leader Council came together a couple of years ago. I believe they're incorporated as a 501c3 now, but there are over, I'm gonna lowball because I don't want to overstate, but there's over 130 organizations in Howard County that have come together, nonprofits, faith leaders, local government agencies, etc., allies that come together and talk about what is happening, what resources do we have, how can we pool together. We all have to play in the same sandbox because we're all a part of this community. Again, I implore you all to come if you're able. Just listen and see what is happening, what conversations are going on behind the scenes, because they are happening. We also need the help of you guys and the support of our elected officials and those with decision-making capabilities to support the work that is being done by these coalitions and agencies. Also, We know what causes crime is poverty, is hunger, is lack of connection, is lack of access to education. We know these things. We know that these are what cause crime, so those are what we need to be addressing. So I also invite you all to the Food Access Alliance that happens the last Monday of every month at 9:30 in the morning at Inventric. Usually it's upstairs on the second floor. SNAP is not being issued in November. We have over 10,000 people in Howard County who are not going to receive their benefits. Regardless of your beliefs about who receives SNAP, people and children are going to be hungry as a result of this. We as a community have a responsibility, every one of us, elected, not elected, going to church, whoever, we all have a responsibility to step in right now and do what we can to support and help and volunteer and make sure that our neighbors aren't going hungry. So the Food Access Alliance does a lot of really great work to address the food gaps and the food deserts that are happening in Howard County, to try to generate and bring in more grocery stores and fresh produce, to do nutrition education programs because we want to address chronic diseases like diabetes and heart disease and things like that. So there's a lot that's happening, and I'm proud to be a part of it. And I just invite all of you to please pay attention, come to those meetings, show up face to face, have conversations with the people who are doing the work, because I'm tired and I'm heartbroken watching the people that I love under attack and my community being torn apart. So there's a lot of reasons to be divided right now, but we have a responsibility to come together to address the ongoing crime, the need for additional jail building, to find the money for it, to make sure people have food in their bellies so that they don't have to go to the store and steal food and then go to jail. You know, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Anyway, thank you, and I hope to see you at those meetings.
Thank you very much for the insight. What was the coalition? What day was that?
Which one?
The mental health
That's
MHA.
the first Wednesday of every month.
Okay.
So it's coming up actually next Wednesday at 12 p.m. And actually the superintendent of the Kokomo Area Career Center is going to be coming to that meeting to talk about what the Career Center is doing to train, what's the term? Train people to get into the field, into the service field, development, employee development, whatever, talent development. But anyway, we have a provider shortage as well. It's part of the reason why people can't get care is because we don't have the doctors, the therapists, the psychiatrists, et cetera, to provide the care. So that's what that meeting will focus on, and then every month is different.
Okay, thank you for that. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you, everybody, for your input tonight and comments on this resolution. Is there any other conversation from the council on this?
We ready for a motion?
I believe so.
Mr. President, I move we approve this resolution for the increase in the local income tax as presented and discussed.
Second.
Motion for Resolution 2025 HCCR-22 has been properly made and seconded by Councilman Faulkner and Councilman Roberts. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the resolution, assign aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Resolution carries. Other council business, next item up on the agenda. Anybody else have anything? Okay, I guess I would just like to say thank you for everybody's input tonight. We don't do this, we don't make that last decision lightly. We have put hours and hours to it, to think about it, to strategize, to find out what we can do to help mitigate the problem. It is a burden. I thank you for all your concerns. We will look into some of these things. But it is hard when you go down to a magistrate, and he basically says, the ACLU has a pretty ironclad case against you, so you can fight it, it's just going to delay the inevitable. So we made that decision about a year ago and have been working to try and come up, working with our sheriff's department and the judicial system to try to figure out how to handle this. I appreciate the council's work, the commissioners, I appreciate Barnes and Thornburg, Jason Simler, Baker Tilly. I really appreciate the city council and just all of us trying to work together. And we need to continue to work to look at other ways we can be better, so.
Darrell,
Yep.
I think there's one other advantage of making that agreement, and we, like Jeff Lipinski said, we all went down to the session with the magistrate, not magistrate, mediator, the federal mediator, and I think part of our thought process at that time was if you make a decision and an agreement with the party, I guess ACLU was representing that party, if you make that decision, we ultimately have better control of what does get built by the county. The county, the voices in the county, the knowledgeable people, the sheriff, knowledgeable people, and finance people have better control. I think there's other counties in the state that they went and the courts told them, hey, you have to do it this way, or you have to do it that way. So I think deciding earlier avoided a longer litigation effort and also allowed us to maintain control over what ultimately gets built, how it gets built, where it gets built, and that kind of stuff. So I guess, sure, if you want. I mean, Darrell's the one to ask.
You're good, Joe.
Yes, Joe Rousseau.
So I believe the sheriff is up for election this coming year, 2026, is that correct?
Well,
Yes.
next year.
Yeah, okay, so you're done, because you've served your 2 terms. Okay, so the question is this: how does that transition from Jerry to whoever's next affect what's going to happen with the jail and the direction it's going to take?
I know one of the candidates that's announced for sheriff, and that particular candidate is well-connected with the current jail operations. No surprise, it's Captain Jordan Buckley. And I think he's well-connected with the needs of the jail and with the operations of the jail, and frankly, I think he's tuned into what those needs are and also has looked at what areas can be cut from the first, if you will, the first proposal that was made by the architects to say, hey, how can we squeeze some more cost out of this initial design? And those discussions have been held and they'll be ongoing. So I believe they'll, given that, there could be a good transition.
Mr. President, could I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
Listening to all of this and having been in the county for 40 years and seeing people trying to pay their taxes and seeing the units as we're trying to give money to them so they can operate, it breaks my heart and the hearts of each one here. This is not something that is easy for us to do either. We appreciate the hearts of you who are here with your concerns and the work that you're planning to do, because there's a lot of work to be done here, and I've prayed for years for the changes that we need in this community, and maybe this is what it's going to take. But thank you for everyone who's come tonight and stated their opinions and asked their questions, because it just needs to be done.
And then, Joe, I think one more response to your question. The architects that we're utilizing have built many jails across the state. So I think we'll have probably the shell of the thing figured out, if the new sheriff would like things different, we could probably tweak it at that point in time if we need to. There'll be some things we may not be able to, but there could be some changes. But there's been a lot of effort and education on these architects on how jails work, and so it's a pretty efficient system once we get it all said and done. But
And I would
could
add
help
also that I've learned more about jails over the last year than I ever thought I would ever know, just being in a lot of these meetings. And I really believe the input that we've received from Sheriff Asher, Captain Buckley, Captain Deckard, all of those involved, has been with the heart of finding the jail that we need in Howard County, regardless of who's in that office. And that's important because hopefully there are going to be many sheriffs during the life of this jail. So I don't think, that I've seen at least, I don't think anything is being done with the idea that this is what Sheriff Asher wants, or even whoever the next sheriff might be. So I think that's being done in mind that this is the jail we need. Whatever sheriff comes in there, this is the jail we need. That's been my impression.
Agreed. All right, with that, I will take a motion for adjournment of our October regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been properly made by Councilman Faulkner and seconded by Councilwoman Lake. All those in favor of adjournment, assign aye.
Aye.